What's up and welcome back, Trey Reacts family, as I'm bringing you another special video today recommended by YouTube from the channel known as TJ Loves Fights, as the title of his video is called Why So Many Boxers Are Undefeated and Why It's Kind of Easy. But without further ado, family, please don't forget to like, comment, as well as subscribe and turn on post notification bell so you never miss another upload of hearing my voice and seeing my face. And throughout the video, there's going to be play buttons going, so try to click those and watch those as well. But we're gonna get straight to the reaction right now. I'm about to go small screen. So I'm up here. Big screen. Here we go.
There are
again, shout out to TJ Loves Fights.
It's not that hard to be undefeated, relatively speaking. So it seems like a lot of the top boxers are undefeated. And I know we're talking about the top boxers here, but one would imagine that a undefeated record would be very, very rare and something that only the top of the top would have. But in this video, I'm going to show you how common undefeated records are, how we should be looking at undefeated records with context, and how boxing promotions will actually manufacture undefeated records to promote their fighters. So to show you how insanely common undefeated records are, I crunched some numbers, and I have to say these statistics really surprised me.
No one really see in the media because it's just like, I guess they don't have a name, so... I mean, the record shows is either undefeated by 7-0 up to like 23-0, but it's kind of crazy
that I had to calculate them a second time, and I think this will really surprise you. So I took the top 10 boxers in each division from flyweight all the way to heavyweight according to ESPN. I just picked ESPN because of an arbitrary choice. It was the cleanest way to get all the records of each fighter. You can argue ESPN doesn't rank boxers correctly, but they had, in my opinion, the correct top 10 people in each division. Whether that was in the correct order or not doesn't matter. I just needed the top 10 boxers in each division. So again, I went from flyweight all the way to the heavyweight division, which is a total of 15 weight classes or 15 divisions.
That's a lot
so
of weight
that
classes.
is a total of 150 boxers we're looking at. Then I counted up the amount of undefeated boxers within the top 10 of their division, and it came out to exactly 50 boxers, or 33% of all top 10 boxers in each division are undefeated. Now, this seems a bit high considering that an undefeated record should be something really impressive. That should be something...
Did that say 44-0? Oh, wow, okay. I wonder who he was fighting.
That I would assume would be in the top 5, maybe 10% of all top boxers. But in this case, 1 in 3 boxers
keep pausing and playing
within
the
top 10 of their division are undefeated. Now, to give a little more context and relativity, I did the same experiment in the UFC. I took the top 10 fighters in each weight division, and I found out that only 5 of these 80 fighters are undefeated, or 6.25% of all fighters within the top 10 of their division are undefeated, which is way less, obviously, than 33%. So I did a little more digging with the numbers, and I found out that a lot of the other boxers that aren't currently undefeated only have 1 loss and were previously undefeated for a very long time. So if you've been a fan of boxing, you'll know that a lot of the fighters are built up to be undefeated up until the point where they fight somebody.
How y'all feel about Cambosis versus Devin Haney too?
So
let me know in the comments what y'all feel about it.
So what happens if we add these boxers?
Honestly, I feel like Devin Haney might pull it off again.
Only have 1 loss.
It ain't gonna be as smooth as he did last time. But
this number goes up to 85,
I'm not down Devin Haney.
Or 56% of all boxers within the top 10 of their division have 1 loss or less. So let's take this a step further and add the boxers with 2 losses. And this number goes up to 119, or 79% of all boxers within the top of their divisions have 2 losses or less. Finally, if we take this another step further and we add boxers with 3 losses, this number goes up to 136, or 90% of top boxers today have 3 losses or less on their record. And the weird thing is, when calculating these numbers, is that it's more impressive actually to have 4 or more losses on your record and still be within the top 10 of a division. So the question is, why is it so easy to be undefeated in boxing? So the biggest reason why it's so easy is because
they pick their fights.
Entry, or how difficult it is to become a professional boxer and fight for one of the bigger promotions. Now, I'm not trying to discount how hard it is to fight professionally. I know it's super tough, you're going to get hurt, and you're doing this for a living. But relatively speaking, to other traditional sports,
No
it's
uppercut
much
is
easier
so
to become a
beautiful.
professional boxer and fight for a big promotion than it is to join the NBA, the NFL, the UFC even, etc. So in traditional
Exactly.
sports, you usually go through a draft, and those draftees are among the top of the top in the country or in the world. So in boxing, the barrier of entry to become a professional fighter is much, much lower. So there are about 20,000 professional boxers all around the world.
Jeez.
And if you compare this to the amount of professional MMA fighters around the world, there are about 1,000 to 5,000, depending on which source you use, of professional MMA fighters with the combination of the UFC, ONE FC, Bellator, etc. So you could argue that there are more boxers than MMA fighters.
I mean, I see what the analogy is. Like, I know he's probably about to get to the point. I just paused it. I'm so sorry about that. But like, you see more MMA fights rather than boxing fights, because boxing, they usually do it like 3 to 6 months. Sometimes, depending on the boxer, it could be up to like at most 2.5 months. But like, UFC fights almost, like, to me it seems as though they fight almost every 2 to 3 weeks or every month or so. Let me know in the comments if y'all feel the same way. Like, you see more frequent UFC bouts than you do boxing bouts. We're gonna get straight back to it. My bad.
Fighters, because MMA is relatively new in comparison to boxing. But I'm going to argue that it's because of such an easy barrier of entry. So essentially all you need is your boxing pro license, which can be obtained by simply applying to your state's athletic commission. From there, you're technically a professional boxer. Now it gets harder to become a professional boxer with a top promotion, but technically you can be a professional boxer and fight anybody with a pro license. You contrast this with the MMA, or in specific the UFC, you're essentially contracted to fight other UFC fighters. And since the UFC scouts for fighters and has things such as the Contender Series and the Ultimate Fighter to pick out essentially only the top guys, the people you're going to be fighting in the UFC have passed a certain threshold to be in the UFC. If we go back to boxing, you can essentially fight, again, anybody with a pro license. So this gives young and up-and-coming fighters opportunities to fight competition levels way below them and to basically handpick their opposition. And unlike the UFC, most promotions in boxing don't obligate their fighters to fight within the promotion. And what you'll find in this video is that most promoters, especially early in a fighter's career, will actually encourage fighters to fight outside the promotion and fighters that aren't necessarily on their level. And want to start an online store?
What he's getting at, which I understand completely, TJ loves fights. Like, that is very informational about like why boxers choose the route that they take. Like what I mentioned before, Ramirez, he probably had like ample amount of boxing, amateur boxing bouts before even stepping in the ring to become professional, which is crazy to see a 44-0 boxer and no one really even mentioned him. But I'm about to skip this ad. Again, shout out to you, TJ loves fights, but we gotta keep it going.
Let's call it Tika. You can always change it. And this phenomenon still also happens within the promotion as well. A good example of this is Emmanuel Williams versus John Ricone. And you can't tell me that Emmanuel Williams wasn't just signed to Top Rank to basically lose against the top guys and fluff their record. So if you go to BoxRec, which is basically a record keeper of a professional fighter's career, we can see that most of the young stars, the first 5, 6, maybe up to 10 fights have been to opposition that was much, much worse than them. You can clearly see these fighters taking the opportunity
do y'all think Ryan Garcia and Tank will happen
to handpick their opponents and get surefire wins.
But
so obviously this is a dream for a promoter.
I don't know. I don't think it's looking very bleak. If not this year, it's going to be like 10, down the line, like next 5 years.
Wins. Unbeknownst to the general population, though, these wins aren't against competition that's all too good. And the thing is, this will continue to happen. There really is no incentive to stop this. Everybody involved in this situation is happy. The promoter continues to promote their fighter as undefeated and can safely give them wins. The fighter obviously is going to get easy wins and build up their confidence. And the person who lost, I would assume, is pretty used to losing, and at least they got a paycheck out of this. And this is also easy to continue because of, again, the low barrier of entry. There really is no quality control with these professional boxers, and so long as boxers continue to easily become professionals, there's gonna be, out of these 20,000 professional boxers, a vast majority of them lacking the same quality of the fighters that these promoters are promoting. So you're probably wondering, what is the problem with undefeated records if eventually these talented fighters are gonna fight each other? Well, if you've learned through past videos of mine, talented fighters don't necessarily fight each other that often. So since there is no governing body which forces these fighters to fight, they can continue the cycle of fighting competition that's lower than them and continue to pad their undefeated record with more wins. Now, this becomes a real problem when these fighters have an opportunity to fight somebody equally as talented as them. If this fighter is a real threat to their 0, their O, their undefeated record, then they will be very reluctant to take that fight. Up until this point, they've been promoted as an undefeated fighter. They've been conditioned to winning, and they've been conditioned to fighting competition that is very easy for them. As you saw from the numbers in the beginning of this video, it seems like the hallmark of being a top boxer is to have an undefeated record. So as you can see, losing that undefeated record is a legitimate threat to their livelihood, their career, and their image. Additionally, undefeated records kind of lose their prestige if so many fighters are undefeated. If 1 in 3 of the top fighters are undefeated, then who really is the top of the top? It does make it harder to rank fighters, and I think inherently an undefeated record isn't really a good sign of how good a fighter is. You really need to look into the context of who they fought and see if they've been protected by their promoters or not. So what do you guys think? Are undefeated records still impressive to you, or is it?
Well, that's going to be the end of his video as well as the end of my video. This was very informational. Again, shout out to you, TJ Loves Fights, because not too many people that, if you pay attention to it or if you don't, to boxing, especially boxing like professionally, not YouTube wise. Even though YouTube boxing is a staple to really stay, and social media blowing it up to get the masses from social media over to boxing and blow their stuff up too, which is very good overall. But you know, this was very good and very informational all in all. But please, family, don't forget to like, comment, as well as subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss another upload of hearing my voice and seeing my face. And if you want to send me videos to react to, send it to my reaction page right here at trey.reacts. And if you want to be my friend and be my mutual on my main page right here, follow me right here at Trey vs. Dre 30. And I'm on the road to 10K. I keep mentioning it almost every video that I have, but it's going to be linked right here for my TikTok page at Trey303023, and my business email inquiries is going to be right up above me. And again, family, if y'all watch this video all the way through, I love and appreciate each and every single one of y'all. We are on the road to 100 subscribers, so let's try to get this video. I don't really like setting like goals. Let's do 3 likes. Let's see if we could get 3 likes on this video. But like I said, family, y'all have a blessed, safe Friday. And I'm going to catch y'all next week, Thursday, with another reaction. Peace.